And, in artist community, we can talk about art for nights and days and everything. And you just get used that you like people so passionate about art. And then you just, meet people with jobs they don't like, and they don't want to talk about their jobs. Like they kind of like, it's nothing to say. And then I met scientists who was like so amazing to hear people passionate about something and it's not art. And I was really surprised. And I was like, I actually want to share this experience. Like when people are so passionate about something which I don't know nothing about.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Scientist Podcast. I'm your host Akram Al-Wahabi, and in this podcast we take deep dives into people's careers, uncovering the mysteries behind the LinkedIn posts. Do people actually mean those things when they post on LinkedIn? Are the posts just an exaggeration of normal jobs that they're doing? Or do people actually do some extremely impressive things and brag about them in their social media? Someone that is not bragging about their social media is today's guest. Today's guest is Ella Marushchenko. She is an artist that works with scientists. When you're doing science, you need illustrations to make sure that people understand the concept behind your experiment or behind your research. And scientists are not the best illustrators because they're doing science, right? And Ella and her team are actually doing a phenomenal job creating all these beautiful illustrations that help convey the ideas behind these complex research topics. Ella Studio has produced covers for most of the prestigious scientific journals all around the world. She's done, and you can see it in the screen right now, she's done covers for Nature, Cell, Science, and you name it. As usual, I'd say grab a cup of coffee and let's get to today's episode.
First of all, thank you, Ella, for joining me today. This is the Scientist Podcast, and in the beginning, I would like to, I know a lot about you, not a lot, I've been following you on social media, obviously, but if you could introduce yourself to our guests, to our audience, please do so.
Okay, hello guests. Hello everyone. My name is Ella. Full name is Marushchenko. I was born in Russia, so I still have an accent. That's why probably a lot of people are going to be confused. I have an artist degree. I graduate university in Russia. I have major in art. Also, I went to a studio with two amazing artists. I have the students that was teaching young artists like how to draw. The name of this artist was Sergei Krasnov. He's actually passed 2 years ago, and Vera Sanbayeva, who still teach in Russia. She is amazing. She is the best teacher I ever dreamed of. After I graduated university in Russia, I went to Europe because where else artists can go? Of course, it was Europe. I was dreaming to go to school there, and I went to school, to a small art school. And after that, I decided to move to America. Think like most people want to fulfill this like American dream. And I found myself here. Before scientific illustration, I was doing a lot of different art. I was doing photography, I was doing fashion, I was just selling my art. I don't know, like practically every job in art field I found. So I was doing everything possible to pay my bills.
You did photography too?
Yeah.
I'm a really big fan of photography, and I take many pictures. So, glad to know that we have this common thing.
Yeah, I was doing photography for a time, and I think I was actually good at photography. Like if we look back and 15 years ago, no one has so great camera. Everyone is taking photo right now on their cell phones and stuff. But I kind of on one point, I think everyone started to begin photography. Everyone wants to be a photographer. And it was so hard to find a job in this field. And I was all the time suffering how to make money, what to do. And I just honestly, on some point, I was pretty sure I'm just going to give up on art, because it was a lot of people who is listening and have art backgrounds, being art, especially right now with all social media, it helps a lot, but same times it just puts so many people on the market. You're practically competing with all Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok all the time. So
Yeah. So yeah, so you're from an arts background, right? But
yeah, I
your
have
job right
art
now,
background.
right? But your job right now is basically illustrating science.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was actually more like an accident. I moved to America and I was looking for a job, and I met a scientist. His name is Alex. He's actually one of the owners of the studio now. And he asked me to do image for him. I was actually declining because like classic background and digital art not always working together. And he introduced me to his professor, Sergey
Mhm.
Minkon. And it's amazing scientist. And he asked me to do a journal covers. I was actually publishing, I think it was advanced functional material. And he asked me to do a journal cover for them. I say no, because I'm not a digital artist. He didn't took no like an answer, like because you cannot say no to scientists. You're always gonna find the way
Find
to
a way.
convince you. So he asked me, and I just give up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this one cover because it's there. Like I cannot say no to him. And he was like really passionate with Alex about like the research. I did cover, and it was accepted.
What was the what was the cover about? What was the,
Oh,
idea?
and you catch me there because with like with artistic background, I can exactly explain you, and it's amazing about scientists as well, that how scientists can explain you what they're doing, and you're not going to feel dumb. Because basically, when they asked me to do a scientific image for them, I know nothing about science, and they described me, and I'm not joking. It was like, you draw nanoparticles, and I was like, what is nanoparticles? And
Obviously.
they was like, it was look like some spaghetti and stuff, and research was about polymer materials. And they practically was like, okay, it's gonna look like spaghetti, and on top of spaghetti there's small moleculars. And I was like, how this molecular? For me, molecular was something you can never see, because molecular is like molecular, like who knows
Yeah.
how it looks like.
Yeah.
He basically was explaining me like everything like for a child. And it actually was amazing experience again, because most of people think that scientists, it's so complicated, and if you're not from scientist background, like you're going to feel dumb in this community, and you're going to feel stupid, you're not going to be visible. And it is absolutely not true, because if scientists want to explain you his research, he's going to find a way to explain it. So yeah, they explain me in a really basic way what Discover was about.
And this is something about scientific research. Any research at that level is not going to be fully understood for other people, even if they're researchers in another field. So
Mhm.
at that high level of research, like if you're PhD and after it, that's pretty complicated stuff. So I remember in 2015, I think, I was in Stanford, and there was a chance to hear a public PhD defense. And I remember I was there and I was like, I must be stupid. I understand nothing from what she said. And I'm like, oh, this Stanford is crazy. And I remember just going after the defense, going out, feeling a little bit down. And then luckily I hear these, her, like, the the person that was defending's friends were talking, and they were like, Jesus Christ, I understood nothing. And they're also PhD students in Stanford. And that made me feel at least a little bit better about myself, because you would understand some generalities, but once it reaches that level, it's pretty difficult, right?
Yeah, that's why we have scientists in our studio who's like
Yeah.
can understand science, can read science, and after that they can explain it to artist team in a really basic way. So we
Mhm.
are blessed with amazing scientists in our studio now.
Perfect. So, yeah, about your studio, like, how many people work in your studio, and how many are scientists, and how many are, or do scientists
Mm,
also do art, or like only scientists for science and artists for
No,
art?
no, we have a team of scientists and team of artists. So I'm in charge of all artists. I'm like control that everything look good, and altogether 8 people, 3 scientists, and it's going to be 5, 5 artists. So scientists, amazing. We have biologists, Alex is a chemist, and they explain to artists what is research about. Biology stuff, like our Katie, she's like absolutely the best. We are lucky to have her. She's explaining everything in basic way, and she's really friendly as well. And she talks to scientists if someone needs, to adjust the image. And I'm just in charge of artists. I just make sure that everything is like I wish it's supposed to look like, because like it's going to be our name studio on the image. So I just control that. But our artist is amazing. I don't really make adjustments really often. So
So you explained to me that I think your partner in the studio who's convinced you to work with in scientific illustration. But were you always interested in science before, or like
no,
it kind of never crossed your mind?
no, I was actually suffering during school and school just in general, because I was convinced by my teachers that I'm absolutely dumb, that I cannot do any like math or physics or chemistry. And my family is artist, my grandma artist, and my mom was artist, and I was like all the time talking to my parents, and I was like, no, everything is fine. It's just like, it's not your field. So I never even considering going in scientific field. I still have nightmare about maths exams and stuff. So I was never even thinking about that. And then I met artist or a scientist. And in artist community, we can talk about art, like just about art for nights and days and everything. And you just get used that you like people so passionate about art. And then you just, like meet people with job they don't like, and they don't want to talk about their jobs, like they kind of like it's nothing to say. And then I met scientists who was like, and it was like so amazing to hear people passionate about something, and it's not art. And I was really surprised, and I was like, I actually want to share this experience, like when people are so passionate about something which I don't know nothing about. So this was actually the main reason why I decided to do a second cover and second image after that, because it was so nice to be around people who was like passionate about something. So now I don't have like any scientific background, and going to scientific field was like more like jumping from the roof. I was like, okay, let's try it. What I have to lose? Like, I'm searching for a job all the time. Like, scientists are nice people. Like, it was like best decision I ever made.
When you started you doing scientific illustrations, how long have you been drawing, or like just illustrating? How
All my life.
since all your life?
All my life. I started drawing since I was 3. And actually it was my grandma who was noticed that, and because she has artistic background, and she told my mom, I'm going to be artist. I can see that. And all I remember that I was sitting in the class and I was drawing my schoolmates. And first image I made for my grandma, it was a woman green with a green skin and a square shaped head. Somehow my grandma found it really fascinating. And so like during all my life when she was alive, she all the time was talking to me about art, like explaining what I'm doing wrong when I paint. And so like I never considering doing anything except art in my life, because I'm pretty bad in everything else. So it was more like, I'm going to do art. And even in school, when I was suffering and when teachers was like, I'm not sure, like right now in the school, teacher cannot say something like that to a child. Back then when I was studied, it was like they constantly was calling my mom and telling her, oh, it's a really bad situation. She don't want to study. And my mom was all the time, like saying to them, she's going to be artist. One day she's going to be artist, and all of it it just doesn't matter.
So did the motivation you got from your grandma and from your mother really helped you, keep
Yeah.
on going in this, path that you were in?
Yeah. And I think like it's really important when your family is like supporting you, because like without my parents, my grandparents, my father, and my twin sister and my older sister, because I don't know if we can share this. It's
You
a
have a
crime.
twin?
Yeah, I have a twin sister. Yeah,
Oh,
not identical, but is a twin.
yeah.
She's a twin. I think it's a crime considering now, but she passed all tests in the school for me. She was doing all math tests, physics tests. So basically, my twin sister has to study for 2 because I was math was too complicated for me. So I have all support I can ever like. People cannot even wish for such support.
This sounds like a movie, really. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not real.
And I actually start to appreciate how much she did just now, because I was so obsessed when she was not kind of doing all this math tests for me. She was like, I can't, I'm so tired. And I was like, who's gonna help me? Yeah, if you're not gonna help me, how am I gonna graduate?
You
like,
have to. Like
you have to, yes, you are my twin sister. Like you have to graduate.
Yeah.
So yeah. And my oldest sister all the time was fighting to teach me math. And and she all the time was like there for me, but she couldn't pass the test for me because she's older, like 6 years older. So she couldn't.
Does your at least twin sister, is she also interested in art, or like she was
Oh
not?
no.
She was not
She not
interested.
no, she was never. I think my example of me failing down constantly in everything was a great like I don't know, great example for her to not go in this direction. So she's like really smart in math, like all my family except me. So she just follow another path. She's working in Ireland right now.
But this is like, this is great. Like the story that you just told me right now. So many people suffer in one field and they really try to force themselves to be good at it.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not saying people to quit, but you might be, destined to do something else. Like if
Oh
you
yeah,
like something, just do it,
on
right?
some point just give up, like if you're, I don't know, 15, I was 15 and you still like this math, and then it's like letters, and if it's confusing you and you don't know what to do with that, just give up on math. Like don't
Let it
go
go.
to school with math. Yeah, it's just like you're just gonna waste your time. And then a lot of people actually, when I post something about school, a lot of people reach to me and telling me, I'm so glad that you posted, because my child is suffering in school right now and I kind of don't know what to do. And I was like, try to, just find what your child good at. Like just my parents never even tried to push me to go to any like law school or medicine school just to fulfill their dream about something like that. I was like, she's going to be an artist. It's going to be your choice. It's probably going to be rough. It's going to be not really simple, but at least she knows what she's doing and she's really good on that. So that's why
Yeah, please continue.
yeah, that's why I all the time telling people like, school is just like couple years and then you have to live with your decision. And if you're going to go to school and you hate every single day there, and like some people go to med school just because you're going to make a lot of money, and then you're going to just every day you're going to convince yourself that you have to save this life just because they're paying for you. Just don't do that. Just maybe I can never imagine myself working without drawing. Like even when I was like a waitress or I was working on gas station, I was always drawing on the side. Like never can like imagine myself doing something else and be happy with that.
So obviously, like your mom and your grandma are like they inspired you to continue to do art, right? But from where do you also draw inspiration? And let me just say something like very simple. Like I think one of your recent posts, you drew a tooth, right? You're like a quick
Yeah.
sketch.
Mm-hmm.
That made me feel so frustrated because the quick sketch when you started is the best that I can do. I'm probably not gonna be able to draw anything like. And then that was your basic thing to just start from. And then I was like, how much more can she make it better? And everything you drew just made it come to life. So
Okay.
how do you draw this inspiration? Like how do you see it?
Tooth inspiration was from my dentist appointment, I think, because I was having dentist appointment next week, and it was
Yeah.
amazing inspiration. I think it was like should be tools and money on top of it, because then you see a bill for the tools. But I don't think like something like really. I know that some artists can walk on the street and see some flowers and they're going to be, wow, it's really inspiring. And I'm going to draw something in this color, but it's not working for me. I think I'm just inspiring by everything is going around. Like it can be dirty streets, it can be even trash. Like I love place in Asheville and all the time eat near the bakery, near the trash bans, where people, and just like it feel me like I'm in a big city. And like artist inspirations come from the time. I think it's just like during COVID, it was dark time, and it was like we was drawing a lot of COVID, and I actually went to some gallery, and it was artists who was not from scientific background, and I was like, I kind of feel this, I don't know why, but I kind of feel this painting is about pandemic. She's like, yeah, because I tried to draw this COVID virus on top of that. And I was like, okay, now I get it. And it was like really dark. So it seems like everything can be inspiration, everything inspiring. See, like some tools can be inspiring by the dentist bill and stuff like that.
I mean, dentistry is not really cheap, especially in the States. You're now in the States, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not cheap. Dentistry is not cheap over there. Okay, so artists wise, I think you always attend galleries. I see you try to attend galleries, like you mentioned a little bit earlier.
I love to walk. Yeah, I love to walk around galleries. I love to see what's new, and it actually can. In small galleries, like in America, you can see how art is growing, what is popular right now, what its style is about, and it's kind of, and if you travel between the states, you're going to see difference between galleries here in South Carolina, between North Carolina, and obviously it's going to be giant different between Chicago. So I just love to see what art is doing, because right now I'm more talking with a scientist, and I get this, I can explain my friend about, I was actually really good explaining about COVID viruses during a pandemic and how vaccination is working, but I actually missed this part when was like all artist community was talking about some new art and new like stuff like that. So right now I'm kind of more enjoying walking, and I maybe in the future I want to put my paintings over there. I have like a lot of paintings in my home. I don't have a time to even put them in the galleries and sell it. And I kind of try to decide if I want to do scientific paintings or just
I was about to ask you. Sorry to disturb you there, but if you were gonna do a gallery, are you gonna do it like
small wall?
Like, how can I say, like, would you prefer to do it, or like the first idea in your head is whether to do it like for your regular drawings, like something that just draw, or for your scientific illustrations? Which one?
I want to do it all. I want to put everything. I want to. No, it's I think I'm gonna start with scientific, like some scientific covers and images, because you're going to be surprised how many people are actually interested in science, and they not from scientific community. They really interesting, and when you show them DNA structure or like coronavirus structure or even a chromosome, they're going to be like, wow, I want to have it in my apartment, I want to put it in my wall, it's actually look really cool. And I don't think we have it enough. It's never enough art for me, like, but like scientific illustration, it's also a little bit of education. And yeah, I want to people know that science is not boring. Scientists are not these nerdy people who is walking and like this being big theory, what was like this sitcom, Sheldon Cooper,
Big Bang Theory.
Like, yeah, amazing sitcom, but like never met anyone of scientist community looking like that or acting like that. Never.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just like
yeah.
all all like, like artists have to wear a hat and look crazy. And if you do something wrong, people, oh, you're just artist. And the same with scientists. People believe that scientists, some nerdy people who hide somewhere, which is not true. And I want to people know that science is amazing because we're surrounded by scientists, and science is beautiful. Images like these ACM images people took in, they're really, it just like you look at them and like, wow, it's going inside my body. It's like, I cannot believe it's like something from another world, and people don't appreciate it enough.
Some images especially are just, and especially because they're, monochromatic, at least,
Mm-hmm.
the non-colorized ones are like, how can I say, they look three-dimensional
Mm-hmm.
at many instances. And during my research, I took one picture of stem cells on a rough surface that we created in the lab, and it looked like a picture of the moon. It was how can I say? Even for me, I took the picture and my mind was blown. Like this looks
Mm-hmm.
so cool. So I do
Yeah,
relate. Yeah, please
and
go ahead.
like just people don't know about that. People, I don't know, for people, scientists, it's mainly about, I don't know, some chemistry they do in school and stuff like that, which is complicated or simple and boring, and they never understand how amazing, like if you look deeper in our muscle, or like about it, liver is amazing actually to paint, like with all these bumps. So how cool
Yeah.
is that?
Uh, I'm gonna ask you like for another question, like about inspiration, but uh, do you look for artists, certain artists to draw inspiration from, or at least you like their art, or does it apply to your work when you see this artists, kind of pictures, or
Yeah,
no?
you mean like from scientific illustrator or just no,
Just
just
generally speaking, not
yeah,
maybe
generally
scientific or not
speaking, yeah.
scientific. Yeah.
Yeah, I can like I have my like old-fashioned artists, Rubel, Russian artist, Manet and stuff. Yeah, I love to watch, I love to walk through galleries. But and yeah, I love to sometimes I can see that when I was like I love podcast about artists as well. I love to listen it. So I kind of can see on some point I was drawing only like kind of dark images, like just, and I love to actually play. I love background be super dark, and then it's something really light and living on top of it, and it's just nothing else. And I was like, okay, I know what I'm getting because I was like watched too much paintings of Rubel artists. So I was like, okay, stop with that. Like let's watch something more brighter. It's getting too dark. But I know a lot of and I follow them, scientific illustrators, but I don't like to be stuck in the images because like no matter how hard you try, even if it's a good background, if you're gonna follow certain artists for a long time and you're gonna like one image, you're definitely gonna try to do something based on it, and I don't like it. And it's amazing for new artists who is beginning. Even at school they teach you to do replica album, like a big painting on the famous art, and you start to, before you develop your style, you look on another like master art. But I like when you're just searching through internet and you see this, I don't know, like bacteriophage or like some stem cell. And if it's like amazing, you're gonna try to do something
Yeah,
similar, and
it
you're
will
gonna
be in your
end it.
head.
Yeah, it's gonna stuck in your mind. And on the end of the day, you're gonna just redraw it. And it's not gonna be image of, obviously it's gonna be inspired by someone else. And it's not always good because like even I can like during like searching websites and internet, I can see, oh, you stole it from this artist and it was inspired by this artist. And that's why not really.
You don't. Mhm. Okay, so do you still get, like, I think artists get this, creative block sometimes?
All the time.
How do you
Yeah,
deal with it? What do you do when you have this creative block?
just let it go, honestly. Don't try to fight it. I know, like, and when I post something, people with a good feeling all the time try to tell me, do meditation, try to not work for a while. Yeah, because like not working for a while, obviously going to be appreciated by clients. I'm just going to write them like, sorry guys, I have an artist
I have a
block. I'm
creative
not
block.
going to
Yeah.
do your image. Wait, when it's going to pass. So
Yeah.
I honestly just let myself feel sad, let myself feel down. Now just, like I let myself keep, I don't know, I have family to talk to all the time. They hear only from me, like I'm horrible in art. I'm just not growing enough. I have to, and I just let myself feel it. And it's just gonna pass eventually. It can took a month, but I still gonna draw. I still gonna push myself to draw because one time before States, I let it took me and I was not drawing for 5 years. I was like,
5 years?
I just, yeah, 5 years. I was not able to draw anything. I was trying. And if you're not drawing every day or like, at least, I don't know, do some small sketches, you're going to feel later then kind of like you're losing this skill. You're going to feel that your arms are like kind of numb and you will start to doing this like a child images and you just have to, because it's like a muscle. It's like you're going to a gym and on some, you cannot just like, okay, I'm good enough, I'm gonna give it up, and then you poof, and like, I don't know, 10 kilos after you're like, oh, I was exercising before, everything was
Yeah.
fine. So it's the same as like, it's the same with art. So just let yourself feel it. Eat nice food. I don't know, or meet only people who bring you joy. It's definitely helping. Don't bring people in your life who is like a dementor, suck everything good from your life, and it's gonna pass.
Um, is there like a certain question that you get asked a lot as a scientific illustrator, or like
It's my favorite part. It's my top questions.
yeah.
Obviously, it's gonna be where you're from. But you just get used to that. And second, what kind of software do you use? And I love it. Because people believe that I created some kind of software. I just put some idea there and it's like just creating images from that.
Oof.
And you
Yeah.
have to explain that uh, maybe 15 years ago, softwares was different. When I was started, like it was giant different between 3D Max. It was not even Blender there. Right now, they actually all the same. It just depends on your skill, and you just can find any tool available for you, or if you have any tool, just start doing business, like start working. So like software, my magical software is a top question.
How? I don't know if I should ask this, like, but is there like a software you prefer or no?
Uh, I love it depends on the image I do. I love 3D Max. I'm old fashioned, and I love After Effects, this program. But I can work in every tool. Sometimes I don't. ZBrush is amazing, like to build some cells and like some bumps on top, and it is like amazing, kind of like sculpting something. But I know this program, and I know that a lot of people start working it. It's called Blender, and
Yeah.
it's really, people say, again, never tried it, but people say it's really easy for beginners to understand. So
Would you say that? Sorry. Would you say that there are uses for every program, or like they all can do the same?
I'm pretty sure on some kind of level, people who is doing Marvel movies, they definitely have their own tool and stuff. But for beginners, or yeah, pretty much everything gonna be the same. I'm just like, I have all my rooms, like, like when you're doing 3D images, you build a room, you build specific lights, and then you kind of working with that. So I build my rooms, in which I feel really comfortable drawing, and where I love lights, and I have this material stuff, texturing stuff. So, but I'm pretty sure like some software have less, I guess, options and stuff, but for people who just want to start doing that, it's going to be all the same. For people who's already doing scientific illustration or any kind of digital art, they know what they're doing, so they kind of like can jump from one software, and if they don't like it, they can just switch to another software. But like in this century, like pretty much every program, like some people can create something amazing on the phone, so pretty
Yeah.
every program like is a good now.
How do you see, AI models? Recently, I think especially during this year, many AI softwares came out and they're just creating art by themselves. Do you think
My
that
models,
they
this
they will
like a
be, yeah?
network. I'm translating in my, yeah, I get what you're saying. Uh, I saw good images, let's say when it's one photo combined with another photo and it's become something different. Like I guess I was searching and I found this like flowers and woman face, and it becomes something amazing. But for researchers, I definitely not advise to use it, because you cannot put your research without explaining. It's not good enough, because it's going to be probably some machine on the background, some shiny lights and everything, and it's going to say nothing about your research.
Right?
So I know that for some kind of covers, for maybe I don't know, book cover, or kind of like if you postcard as well, it's going to be good, but you cannot explain yet
Yeah.
machine your research, and you cannot try to show it like the way people gonna understand. It's still gonna be like, I saw recently, and I posted in my Instagram that someone sent me this images was made by this network, and then they asked us to create something much more different, and it was accepted like a science medical cover. And you can see different. It's not a bad image. Let's be honest. I'm not going to be, oh no, machine is not doing a good job. Machine is always doing good job. Use machine for everything. But it was kind of like you get this feeling that you don't know what is going on in this image. You get this feeling. I feel like I have to like it, but at the same time, I just like everything is glowing. It's too many stuff, and the light on top of light, and you don't want to look deeper into the image, and you don't want to understand what's going on. You're like, not bad, and you just like, let's go to
You move on into another thing.
yeah, that's why like when people ask me what I want to show on my image, I all the time say that I want people to look at the image, and I want to people look at least for some times. I don't want people, just scrolling Instagram and stuff and just like not interesting. Oh, cat, oh, it's much more better than this one, because the cats always have like more followers than people. Doesn't matter how hard you try. So
Yeah.
I want people at least stop for a second and like, oh, it's look cool, it's look interesting, and maybe go and find what cover is about or image is about.
See, so I think there's an artistic look to it that maybe artists can recognize, but maybe regular people do not. So maybe somebody who is, not an artist would be fascinated, but an artist would, find the problems, finds
Or
what's
artists
wrong
or
with it.
artists gonna always find a
Yeah.
problem. Even if
But
you created image and you was
yeah.
like satisfied with this image week ago, next week you're gonna open it like, oh no, I don't like it anymore. So
Yeah.
artists always gonna find. I just maybe it's for me, maybe because I'm looking from my background, and I'm like, it's too shiny, background is too blurry, nothing is like paying attention, there is no center, composition is wrong. Maybe it's just like with my experience, it just doesn't look like good
Yeah.
enough.
I mean, like what they said, like to everyone their own. Like
Mhm.
somebody likes it. If they don't, they don't. Yeah, so this is the question that I usually ask everyone at the end of the episode. What would you give? What advice would you give somebody who is interested in pursuing a similar, career as you? What are the steps that they should, take in order to end up to be like you?
To be end up like me.
like an
Do bad at
artist.
school,
No.
do bad at school, do horrible at school, then try to find every job possible, moving from country to country. No, I know what you're
Somebody
talking
interested in
about.
scientific illustration, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Uh, I think like for artists, just don't be afraid. Like I'm not going to say stupid stuff like you just draw and then one day you're going to sell your image, maybe one day, maybe never. Let's be honest, artist community is horrible, we're mean people, and art selling really bad. So but for people, mostly scientists, interesting how to be a scientific illustrator. So my basic is going to be, even if you think you know you can draw, I definitely recommend everyone who is going to school or university attend artist classes, at least how colors is working, because you can see sometimes on the people using neat colors, like complementary colors, wrong way, and image is falling apart. So definitely try to go to some art classes, Maybe on this point you realize it's not past for you. Try to draw on your free time, try to draw for your research, because most people are scientists and they try to create images for yourself, try to create images for your friends, for your professor. Don't try to jump on this field, like, because I think one person asked me how to break into scientific illustration, and I was like, I have no idea. I still don't know, because there's no way you can just like, here I am, my images, and my image is amazing. Love it. It's not working like that. You just start to drawing for your research, your friend research, and you're going to see if you like it or you don't like it. And we learn from mistakes. Even like people see what I'm posting and people never saw how many failures I have, like how many covers was not accepted, how many times I was disappointing in my images, how many times I give up. Just don't give up. Try to attend art classes, draw for yourself, draw for your friends, and don't be afraid to send it to like a journal, like a front cover. Like you'll be surprised, like even I surprised when I see some front covers. So
Just a question that just jumped into my head right now when you were talking. I know I said it's the last question, but one more.
no, it's okay. I have
So, how is the jump from, drawing on your, on paper to actually doing it in 3D models on a software on a computer?
Oh, it was horrible. It was not the
Yeah,
jump, but
yeah,
for me, like I was a classic artist before, and for me it was such maybe when I was studying, like all my art teachers, the classic art teachers, it was kind of really hard to them to accept that I'm doing digital art, because in the artist community, digital art, like there's a rumor that in digital art, only people who don't know how to draw. So it was more like a mentally hard, but technically, I don't think it was hard like that way, because I was studying in university all these programs. We have like a graphic design. All my friends was actually doing cartoon stuff, and I was helping them time to time. So it was more like a mentally accepting that I'm gonna do digital art. That's why I'm doing art on the side as well. This was hard, but like when you draw and art and software, it's just a tool. People don't understand that it's up to you how well and how good are you going to use it. People think that they're going to open some softwares, they're going to open program, and then suddenly amazing image is going to come out. It's not working like that. Yeah, I heard a lot of people telling me, oh, in my mind, in my head, I had amazing vision how I'm going to show it, but in that, like that. And I'm like, it's
just
happening to me
doesn't come out. It just doesn't
yeah,
come out.
it doesn't, yeah. So yeah, but I like it now. I kind of, the problem is I work so hard that sometimes I see everything like a 3D. I'm like, oh, water and nice rendering. It's like, oh no, it's real water, it's real nature. But I love it now. Like I cannot imagine myself doing something not with scientists. I love scientists. I love talk to scientists, and it's just, and in my mind, I kind of all the time have feeling that in this giant research and in small research, when people publishing it, I have this feeling, which is probably really selfish, that I'm kind of part of it. You did image and you feel like, and I was part of this amazing research as well. And it's really helpful for myself, for my ego. And it's all the time you have this feeling that if this research with a T cell, I draw this many T cells, and you kind of feel that what it's helping people, it's curing people, and you part of it. You can draw that, and you putting your images and your heart into that, and it's so good, because all the time when you're artist, you have this feeling that you want to change the world. You want to, bring your art, gonna bring something to people, joy, or people gonna see it and gonna think about something. And being scientific illustrator and really doing that, it's just amazing.
I see scientific illustration as, a science communication, right?
Mhm.
And as in my opinion, science illustration is one form of science communication, and that's definitely you being able to, you know, re- I think without your images, many concepts is gonna be pretty difficult to understand, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
I'm really like really grateful that I have this job. And even like in galleries, I think year ago it was giant exhibition about scientific illustration, but it was like a plant, like a book illustration created by watercolors and stuff. Explain, and a lot of people don't know that it was created by people who is doing scientific illustration, not just artists, but people who study plants was creating that. So scientific illustration was always around. It's now more visible with social media and internet. We just always took it for granted, like, you're opening school books and there's something explaining you how our bodies work, and you like, I don't know who drew that. And
it
it
was
was
just
there.
there.
It
It
was
was
there.
there,
Yeah,
right? It was
it
just
was
there.
there.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Ella, thank you very much for today. Like, I've definitely learned a lot more about illustration than I thought I could. Thank you for making the time.